So, hello everyone, this is just a video I figured I'd make since I just got this. It's new to me, Muffler 365 special. You can see right there, it does have the true quad port transfers. It's true special, not the 365. And this is a true special because it has the decomp on the side right here rather than at the top. Right here, where it would be if it was a 365X torque. So I figured I'd make this as a video because I don't buy saws, but this was a new to me saw, and I figured I'd make this to show you what you should do when you get a new used saw, and the checks I do, why I check them, what they're checking for, and explain what could happen if you don't do it to a used saw. So for me, the first thing I check is the, bar and chain. The saw, I took it off, but the bar and chain were in good condition, sharp chain, and no burning on the bar. What this shows you is the saw was properly maintained and cared for, as a dull chain or a burnt bar would indicate that the person using the saw was not well educated in how to sharpen the chain, which usually also indicates a person who doesn't maintain their equipment as well as it should be. A burnt bar would have the blue, gray, straw-colored discolorations, usually along the bottom. Sometimes on the top if they do flip their bar. And a dull chain, well, as you know, just looks dull. A dull chain also usually indicates that the saw was ran at a higher RPM, as the saw has to work harder to cut chips, and there's not as much resistance, causing the saw to run at a higher RPM, which can blow out bearings and seals. It also usually indicates that the saw was more than likely ran on the hot side, again, causing issues with your bearings and seals. The next place I would look at is the air filter, which on this, you just pop these. Yep. Pop the air filter cover off, and you pop this. There it is. This tube part, as you can see, well, it is dirty. It's not overly dirty, and there's no fines gang inside. And this filter is always really tight, but there we go. Again, there are some fines stuck in it, but not an excessive amount. And it's clean on the inside. Dirty or clogged air filter usually indicates that saw will more than likely have been run lean, and again, sign of poor maintenance. Next place to look is down the throat of the carb, which there you can see the choke bar fly. And what you're looking for, you can stick your finger in, pull it out. What you're looking for is a lack of particulate, especially on steels. Down in the intake, a lot of times, fines will get past the air filter, and it can cause the piston to wear prematurely. Again, when you do that, put this back. Some people will let you do this next step, some people won't. If it's an honest seller and there's really nothing wrong with the saw, next step for me, pop this. Get that, and pop the spark plug. What you're checking for on the spark plug, this saw was just recently ran, so it's probably going to be wet. Not too wet. But you're looking for the color of the tip. Just trying to let it focus. There you go. This is a dark brown, almost black color. It's kind of hard to see on camera, but in real life, it's a what's usually referred to as a chocolate brown. You can kind of see it there. It's about the color of milk chocolate, which is what you want to see. Anything lighter, once it starts getting to gray and especially white, that shows a lean condition. And if it's black, that shows a rich condition. Again, just indicators of how the saw was maintained, whether or not the person running it knew how to tune the saw, and just something to watch out for. A white or gray plug isn't a deal breaker, but should cause you to look at other things, and if possible, try and do a compression test, even though, in my personal opinion, compression tests, especially on two-strokes, don't matter, as I have saws, actually, that have scored cylinders that are very scarred up, and if you look at them, you won't want to run them, but they still run just fine, and they make plenty of power. So it's something to feel. Next thing, as I mentioned, compression. For this, for most, as you can see, 365, 60cc saws or so, should hang from the recoil. It should pull out slowly, and you'll hear the plop plop. If it just immediately falls to the ground, that's showing that it's worn out or blown up. Then the next thing, for me, I check on especially these 3 series saws and the Pro Steels, is the decomp. This one, it's clean because I cleaned it, but before that, there was a nice ring of sap, oil, and sawdust mashed in around it, showing that the previous owner didn't use it. But if it is clean like this, and the previous owner does use it, you want to check. Can you hear that snapping? It's kind of faint. I don't know if the mic will pick it up, but you want to snap in and snap out. That just shows that it's in good shape. It's not worn out. Once these get worn out, they can get sucked in slightly, and again, cause the saw to run lean. Again, not a deal breaker, but something to be aware of. And finally, one of the last things I look at is the muffler. As you can see, this one, the top of it is caved in just a little. The little bit of orangey rust is okay. That's just from when I was washing it, water got on it, and sometimes it flash rusts. But overall, it's not too caved in. There's a couple of dents on this, here and here. But the entire muffler isn't crushed down smaller, which I get would just show abuse. After that, again, if the owner will let you, which if it's, again, on sale, there's no reason they shouldn't, but you start the saw. Starting the saw, you just want to see how many pulls from stone cold. I like to see 2 to 3 pulls from cold to pop, and then preferably 1 pull after that to actually fully fire up. You want to give it a few seconds to start warming up, bring the RPMs up slowly, and then listen to how it's tuned, how it runs, and just listen to it in general. Listen to hear if you hear any weird rattles, if you feel any odd vibrations. Those would be more than likely signs of bad bearings or possibly a bent crankshaft. Bent crankshafts are very uncommon, especially on pro saws. But when the bearings do go out, the entire saw will vibrate at all speeds, and the vibration will speed up and slow down with the throttle input. But those are the things you would be wanting to look at when buying a used saw. For me, I go into the buy, I assume that the guy's lying about everything, and I check everything. Check it in about the order I described. After it runs, you kill it. Again, you listen for any weird rattles. Make sure that the kill switch works, which is actually something that goes bad on the 3 Series Huskies somewhat commonly. It's a very easy fix. This kill switch actually just pops in and out with even just this. It's a very cheap part that's easy to fix. A lot of people will just kill it by pulling the choke. Floods the saw, but when you restart, you just have to hold the throttle open partially, and it will clear the flood. But those are the things I look for when buying a saw. If the guy's honest and it's a good deal, I'd buy the saw. If it does have a few of these problems, it depends on the severity. Again, if it shows signs of misuse, but it's going for fairly cheap, buy it knowing that you may have to put extra parts in. Like sometimes some of the internal recoil parts might be getting very worn out. Plastics can be replaced. They're fairly cheap. You can get the OEM ones or the Chinese knockoffs, but just about every part on the saw can be replaced. The only thing that will prevent me from making a deal is if there is actual damage to the motor or to the carburetor. At which point you need to talk to the person and see if, knowing those facts, he will drop the price. For a saw with a scored cylinder, I wouldn't pay more than about $50 for, unless it's a very large saw, like a 288, 394, 395, 066, 064, those sorts of saws. Those will cost more even if blown up. And if it has carb issues, keep in mind a new carb for 372, 044, 046, those series saws are about $200. And the new carbs for the larger saws, the 90 to 100cc saws, can be upwards of $350. So it's something to keep in mind. Now more than ever, there's one other thing I keep an eye out for is aftermarket or factory plastics. I've seen several saws say it's all OEM, but say you pop the top cover. This is really common to see. You look inside, you can see made in Sweden. That's what I'm looking for, and right there. Sorry, the lighting makes it hard for it to focus. EM original. If you don't see those markings on the plastics, it's, again, not a deal breaker, but if they are aftermarket plastics, that's something to factor into the price. I wouldn't blow a deal up over it, but at the same time, if the guy doesn't want to come down in price, or if he lied to me about the plastics being factory when in reality they are not, that's something to keep in mind. But again, buying a saw is a very personal thing. Everyone has what they want to spend. Everyone knows what they think is a good deal. And this saw, you guys saw the short. It was really nasty when I got, but I got it for free, so can't complain. Stuff like this is a crack, that's cosmetic. That's something I probably should mention. If the crack is down here around the actual crankcase itself, that is a issue. Those can leak, cause a vacuum leak, or a air leak, I should say. And it will cause fresh air to be drawn through the crack in the case into the air-fuel mixture, causing a lean situation. If you know anything about two-strokes, a lean situation is not what you want. But just figured I'd make this video for people who are looking to buy a used saw. I hope this video helps. If you guys have any other questions, comments, concerns, please feel free to leave them in the description. And as always, have a great day, and thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it. Have a great day. Bye.